This is Control. This is actually Control on the Switch, which is a thing that doesn't seem like it should be possible. Control is meant to be a system hog, and the Switch is the weakest of the current generations of consoles. For a good reason. It's a mobile console. It's not designed to be sort of, your big, massive system that runs whatever number of ray traces per frame. I don't know how to... teraflops. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not a technical guy. I don't know how to describe a super powerful system. The Switch is not one, though. But for some reason, I'm able to play Control on it. That's because they're doing an experiment right now where they're letting you play it over the cloud. So basically, the game is running on a distant server, and they're going to let me try it out by, sending my input to them, and they send video back to me. I don't know where these servers are, how far away they are. I don't know what to expect from this experience. There are actually two experiences you could choose from. One is maximizing the visuals. The other one is maximizing the performance. I decided to maximize performance. We'll see how this goes. So far, it looks like a black screen, which I'm assuming will not be the case throughout the game. But we'll just have to see how this goes. How are you all doing? You enjoying this black screen with me? I'm sure enjoying it. So yeah, Gior has joined us here live on the stream because they just finished watching my previous stream, which ended with OBS blowing up on me and me having to to restart it. So welcome. Oh hey, look, the game is beginning. Let's see how well this goes. So I'll get my hands on frames. You can sort of maybe see when I'm pushing buttons. So I'm going to push A to start. That was pretty quick. Let's hit new game. All right. That actually... Okay, well that one didn't respond as fast, but I think that's just because the game is starting. So far the UI is responding surprisingly quickly. I don't know if the entire game is running on a distant server or if some aspects of the UI might be running locally, though. So let's see what it's like when we actually get into the game proper. Even running on this distant server, which I imagine is probably pretty powerful, it's still got a pretty significant loading screen because this is a massive system hog of a game. Everyone is impressed by the black screen they just saw, by the way. Rusty Iron Pants says, "It is the blackest." And Kier says, "It is a perfectly running black screen, working as intended." Usually there are actually certification requirements. You cannot sit on a black screen for more than some determined number of seconds because they don't want players to think that the system has crashed or something like that. It's really important to the hardware manufacturers that their machine never look like it's dying. And so if you have a game that makes their machine look like it's dying, they don't certify you and they make you fix it before letting you go out there. So yeah, for what we actually had kind of a long black screen that crept in sometime after the release of State of Decay 2. We had a long black screen that crept in and nobody noticed it for a while because I think it was only happening on certain hardware that we weren't always testing it on. And so I noticed it because I would play on a first generation ridiculously old Xbox One at home. Now I've swapped it out for a Series X, but for a while it was a really old Xbox. And I was noticing at home, and I kind of brought my concern to the office, and I shot a video of me starting up the game, and when people actually saw it, they were like completely horrified that it looked like that. But yeah, so here we are, kind of waiting on a non-progressing loading screen, which is interesting for a game that's running on a server far, far away. I wonder how long I should wait on this screen before I give up. That bar is not going anywhere. And interestingly, I feel like this is not running at... I don't know if you can tell this at home. It doesn't feel like it's running at maximum resolution. Maybe that, because I chose the performance option, maybe it's deliberately not running at the highest possible resolution. It's pushing fewer pixels to me, which means it could probably get by with less lag. So it's definitely... It hasn't crashed. That's why you have the animated loading screen to tell you, the game hasn't just completely stopped doing anything. But the fact that the bar's not moving is not a hopeful sign. Interesting. So Skymore is reporting a State of Decay 2 bug to me. I don't think I fully follow what you're saying, Skymore. It says the other day my friend was parking a car at my base, and one of my other cars ended up on the fence when I transferred bases. That car on the fence transferred and it left the other car at the old base. I am kind of confused. It sounds like you like the game accidentally left a car behind that you intended to bring with you when you moved bases. And I don't know how that works under the hood. I'm sorry. The car was upside down on the fence. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, no, it is funny when that kind of stuff. Our vehicle physics, the way our vehicles behave, is unpredictable. Oh, hey, the loading bar moved. Cool. Well, thank you for providing us with some entertainment there, Skymore, while we were waiting for that to happen. Let's see how this is like.
Can't be helped.
So is this going to start me at the beginning?
You called me. So here I am.
Let me raise the volume a bit. Does look like the beginning.
I know I shut you out sometimes. I'm always glad to hear from you. It's just that I get my hopes up. So many times it's led to nothing. I found nothing. It's like we live in a room and there's a poster on the wall. We stare at it and we think that's the whole world. The room and the poster. The picture's something nice. A landscape, a famous person.
Now, I don't want to talk over Jesse Fagan here, but oh, what? Oh, I've been idle too long? Well, I'm sorry. I'm waiting for a cutscene. Anyway, so we've seen this intro together before. I think I did Control. Did I play? Yes, I played Control from the beginning on PC when I got it on PC for the first time. So we've seen this intro together already. The thing that I can't quite tell you, let's just skip this. Because what I want to see is how the game performs. Whoa, network congestion. Low performance mode. Okay, here we go. My network conditions aren't good enough. What? That's not possible.
From behind the poster.
The game's gonna end automatically? What are we even talking about? Whoa. Don't end automatically?
I'm here.
Here, let's skip. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so first thing I gotta do is I gotta invert my camera. So let's, where is that? Here it is. Invert. Okay, and they've switched to the switch standard of you press, A, the rightmost button to select things, and B, the bottom button to cancel things. Okay, so when we first began, it was very responsive. It feels a little less responsive now, but that could be because we hit whatever network congestion spike we just hit. Okay, so let's look at the performance here. I'm gonna push the button. That's pretty quick. Yeah, that actually is responding pretty fast. When I was just coming off that congestion spike, it was, oh, okay, weird. Okay, so occasionally, so when it's working great. Like it's pretty responsive, but now and then, okay, so right now it's not. Right now it's actually kind of overturning. Oh no, I've kind of got it back. Its performance is inconsistent. Oh yeah, oh man, and when it's inconsistent, it's super inconsistent. It's causing problems, but again, I don't know if it's a problem with the tech on their end or if it's a problem with network limitations on my end.
Hey, excuse me.
While this is going, while this cutscene is going, I'm going to run a test on my end here.
Janitor's assistant.
I'm going to go to bandwidthplace.com.
Do the interview. Go that way to the elevator.
Thanks. Elevator that way. Got it.
Very good. I'm Ahti. The janitor.
Okay, yeah, I'm up to, like, my download speed right now is a consistent 290 Mbps. Like, my network performance is really, really good right now. Upload, I'm at 34 Mbps. Again, not too bad, especially considering I'm streaming right now. So I think my network situation is actually pretty good.
Ahti, the janitor, is a friend.
So I think the network problem, it might be on their end. Oh yeah, so when I run into a wall like that, that's because I've suddenly lost control. And it feels like the game is just continuing to accept whatever my last input was, as though I was still doing it. It's trying, basically, I think it seems like what the game's trying to do is, like, when it hits an interruption in my input, it tries to interpolate, it tries to guess what I was doing, to try to make me not feel the difference. Okay, the trial has ended. So to continue playing, I can purchase the access pass in the eShop. Okay, so I think the game itself is free, but I think the right to continue playing it continuously is what you pay for. Let's head back to the portal. Okay, so what this feels like is this is an experiment in progress. Not everything is working perfectly. I as far as I could tell, had perfect network conditions on my end, but I was still hitting problems that may have been on their end. The game looked beautiful, like it always does. Even when I'm running it here on my amazing PC that I just got, the game looks just as good. No problems there. It's just there's some network hiccups that they have to solve. But in theory, like when it was working, it was working. And similarly, one thing I've been using a lot is lately is what's it called, remote access on my Series X, where I've been streaming games. I believe that the way the Series X stuff works is that I'm streaming locally. I think that I'm just playing on my LAN. I'm like streaming a game that's running on my Xbox locally over my local network. I think that's how it works. I'm assuming that's how it works because my performance tends to be really, really good when I'm doing this kind of thing on my Xbox, which means it feels like there's no way it's going over the whole internet. But I should actually run a test on that sometime. I should try to do it. Like I should turn off the Wi-Fi on my phone and try to play remotely there and see if that works, because I would love to see if I can actually, like, I don't know, like from a parking lot somewhere, play, Assassin's Creed Valhalla on my phone. That would be pretty amazing. Anyway, so I love the fact that this is what people are trying. That people are trying to push the envelope of this technology. It doesn't feel like it's quite there yet. I mean, I know I've heard people trying Google Stadia who say that they run into conditions like this a lot, where like games become unplayable because of unpredictable network conditions, and that it's like when it's working perfectly, it's really cool, but it doesn't work perfectly consistently enough to really get into a game. And it seems like that might be a similar situation here with Control. But I still love the fact that people are investing the sheer amount of resources that it takes to try to make something like this happen. Because it feels like long term, sometime in the future, this might really just be what we do for all games. If we can overcome, I mean, one thing that's trouble is, like, you can't really overcome the light barrier. I mean, things moving at the speed of light is as fast as things can go, which means that we would have to you got to have whatever server the game is running on has to be kind of close to your house to minimize the effects of just having to bounce a signal all the way to the server and back before you can see the results of your actions. Speed of light is pretty fast, but there's lots of things that can hold it up and delay it more than the speed of light. And so trying to get that lag down and also make your access to the network, I mean, just make it completely consistent, make your bandwidth. I don't know the right terms. I'm not a technical guy. I'm going to be saying all the wrong words here, and I apologize. I'm just a creative type. I'm just a flighty designer. I don't know how networks work. But the point is, whatever it is that makes your internet usage fast or slow, it has to be fast, and it has to be consistently fast in order for this to work. And there are countries where that is true for most of the population. The United States is not one of them. We're not one of the countries where everyone has really consistently fast internet access, which is too bad. And unfortunately, we are one of the largest markets for video games, which means that until the United States gets all of its infrastructure up and running at the speed that's necessary and the sort of the distances that are necessary in order to make stuff like this work, it's going to be hard for it to be commercially viable anywhere. And so that's kind of unfortunate. I mean, luckily, I mean, you know, it used to be that the United States really was, between basically the United States and Japan were so, you know, dominant as far as just audience goes for video games, and you know, and like Western Europe, that it was, you know, it was hard. Basically, every game needed to be made for those audiences. We're seeing that even out a lot. I mean, so, like, we've found that, you know, a lot of our biggest audience growth when we brought State of Decay 2 to Steam was in China. China was, like, by far the biggest place. We realized that just in time to get a Chinese localization of our game put together so that people didn't have to try to play the game in English over there. But yeah, it's like it's starting to sort of even out across the world, and there's, you know, markets for video games everywhere now that are really good. I mean, places like, for instance, South Korea. People have really, really good network access there, and they play a lot of PC games. And I can imagine, technology like this working really well in South Korea. And I have no idea, because South Korea's got its own game industry over there, where it's like there's games that are just for the South Korean market that I never hear about. And so I wonder if people are trying this experiment out there in a place where, where things like this might work a lot better. I don't know enough about the global industry to be able to say one way or the other. But yeah, Josh Annalise points out that not everyone in the U.S. even has access to the internet. We got a lot of places around here where just the fiber optic lines have not yet gotten, and we've got a lot of. I mean, we're a big country. We've got a lot of territory to cover, but yeah. So, but unfortunately, I mean, like, there's not a lot of investment in infrastructure here in the U.S. You know, like people tend to get access to things when it's when it's when it's in the interest of private companies to provide it, and that means that it can't be consistent. You know, if that's the way it works, there's always going to be places that just aren't worth it to a big company to lay the cable to reach people. And that's just a product of the way that America's economy works. But yeah, so I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, like, as internet access spreads, as it becomes more and more financially viable to try experiments like this. It'll be interesting to see it improve. But yeah, so that's our experiment with Control. We've done that. I'm not actually even sure, because I'm not an expert on this topic, and when I'm talking about it, I sound like an idiot. I don't know if I'm actually going to release a video of this, or if this is just a thing that we just did together, but just in case, I'll do an end screen. I don't know, maybe I'll decide this was cool enough to put on YouTube for later consumption, or maybe I won't. We'll find out.